Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all having a good Friday. Hi. If you guys can hear me, see me, if you could give me a thumbs up, or a wave is good enough too. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, how are you guys doing? Great. So, my name is Dr. Akshat Chadha. Before everybody joins in, I can give you a small intro. I'm a lifestyle consultant. What I essentially do is I bridge the gap between lifestyle and medicine to give the best of both worlds to my patients. Now, today we are going to be talking about what is the impact of exercise and movement on diabetes. Now, when I say diabetes, I'm trying to encompass, type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and also pre-diabetes, because if you're either of the categories, exercise is of paramount importance to you. Exercise is anyway important, but since we're talking to diabetics over here, it's extremely important. Okay, so this is exercise is one of the pillars which are very important when you're talking about lifestyle, right? And there is so much of focus on food, nutrition, diet planning, and all of that somehow I feel even now slowly people are accepting stress as being a root cause of most of the problems. People are accepting sleep issues also, but somehow I see exercise is something which is still little ignored. So you start exercise, but something happens, someone falls ill, you get busy with work, and exercise goes out of the window. So today I hope that in the next, let's say, 25-30 minutes, I'm able to really just put it inside, what is the importance of exercise, specifically if you have diabetes, or if you're trying to manage it, control it, reverse it, put it into remission, whatever it is. If you're planning to do that without exercise, even if you manage to get your numbers down, or even if you manage to get off few of your medications, there's a chance it might not be sustainable. Okay, so you want sustainable results, please make sure you exercise. All right. So first thing is, let's visualize quickly. When you think about exercise, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? You can put in your comments down there, but for me, it's like people sweating it out, killing themselves either in the gym or going for a marathon, something which is too extensive. Okay, and when you think about diabetes, what do you really think about? For me, again, it's insulin pricks, or glucometer pricks to check what is the numbers happening, or it's the fact that I can't eat a dessert, I can't eat fruit, I can't have chickus, all these restrictions which come to your mind, right? What you need to understand is that yes, they can all be true as a visualization, but today what you need to think is there are different intensities for exercise, there are different intensities for diabetes. So you don't have to start at the highest intensity. You can start at ground zero, and then you can build yourself up. Okay, so that is very, very important. All right. So I'm going to try and talk about this for the next maybe 20-25 minutes, and at least spare about 5 minutes where we can take in some live questions. All right. So stay tuned. All right. So first of all, is exercise capable of reducing your diabetes or capable of reducing your sugar levels? Okay. And if the answer is yes, then how? So first is yes, 100% it can reduce your sugar levels. Okay. To understand the how, you have to first understand one very clear concept. Okay. I'm going to make it very simple for you, and I hope you don't forget this after this. So when you talk about diabetes, there is more blood glucose. So there is more sugar flowing in the blood. Why is there sugar flowing in the blood? So whatever you eat, junk, no junk, good food, bad food, it gets converted into sugar. And that sugar is actually food or energy for your cells, your muscles, your organs. So this sugar, this has to enter into your cells. This is your cell, it has to enter. Obviously, there is a nice door over there, there is a nice lock over there. So for the sugar to enter into the cells, you need a key. So what happens is that when you talk about, where is the key coming from? The key is your insulin. What is insulin? Insulin is the hormone which is produced by the beta cells of the pancreas. And insulin is the key to open up the lock of the cell so that the sugar can enter inside and not remain in the blood. I hope you're very clear on this. Okay. So So what happens when you talk about diabetes? So now very specifically when it's type 1 diabetes, either the insulin is either not formed at all or it's very less. So it's not, I mean, there is no key, right? So how do you open the lock? So you have to take the key from outside, which is the insulin injections. Okay? When you talk about type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes, predominantly the cause is something called as insulin resistance. We've heard this a lot. Unfortunately, it's becoming a fad, but it is a concept which we have to understand. So what happens in insulin resistance is you have the key, your insulin is getting produced, but for some reason the lock and the key, they don't fit. They're angry at each other, or I don't know, but they don't fit, right? They're not sensitive to each other. So what exercise does is that it makes the lock and the key sensitive to each other, so the key fits, opens it up, and all the sugar can start entering into the cells and out of the blood. So what happens is your cells are getting the energy that they need, the food that they need, and your blood doesn't have sugar. So imagine exercise is that powerful as it reduces insulin resistance and it is capable of increasing the insulin sensitivity. Okay, this concept, if you realize, nothing in the world will stop you from exercising. And this is nothing, I mean, of course, diabetics, pre-diabetics, very important, but even women with PCOS, if you know your menses are not regular and all, exercise is something which will really, really help you. Okay, so now we know how it helps you. All right, but let's say, what are the other advantages? When you have diabetes, why should you exercise? Right, apart from getting your sugars down, what more? So the way I see it is, first is gut health. If you exercise, your gut health improves. Why is gut health so important? Again, because your digestion depends on your gut health. When you talk about digestion, whatever you're eating, okay, it's getting broken down. If it's not getting broken down properly, if it's not getting absorbed properly, how does the body even understand sugars? So there's a chance that poor gut health will finally result into sugar fluctuations. So you have to get your gut health sorted if you really want to manage your diabetes. Okay, this is again type 1, type 2 or pre-diabetes, either way. So in a type 1 diabetic, insulin is actually, when you're taking it from outside, the exercise will help you better utilize it. Okay, so it's the same thing, but it's not resistance, it's coming from outside. Anyway, so then you say gut health, very important. Second is mental health. So when you talk about the mind-body concept, very strong. We've all kind of accepted the connect. We all understand how strong the mind-body connect is. So if you really want to kind of keep the mind and the body in sync with each other, exercise helps you do that very easily. Okay, directly it produces happy hormones. Okay, and indirectly, when you exercise, you know that you've done something good for yourself. You know you've done something right. So automatically you feel better. Okay, you feel better, you do better, you are better. Okay. Exercise also helps you structure your day. So I always tell people, make a time for the exercise. Just fix it for yourself. And then you literally can revolve your entire day around the exercise. Your food timings will get better, your work timings will get better, your me time, family time, everything actually gets better. So exercise alone can actually help you structure your day better. Okay. Not only blood sugar levels, but exercise is something which helps even in blood pressure levels. It will help you regulate your blood pressures much better. Okay, it helps you increase your HDL. What is HDL? Your good cholesterol, which is protective to your heart. And it can also help you reduce your LDL. What is LDL? Bad cholesterol. Okay, at the same time, it can help you reduce your triglycerides. What are triglycerides? Triglycerides are the bigger brother of cholesterol. So imagine it does not only the blood sugar, but also the blood pressure, also the lipid profile. Then we always worry about something called as fatty liver. Now fatty liver, of course, it's the visceral fat. So imagine the belly fat is increasing. The more belly fat, the more visceral fat. The visceral fat will go sit on your liver, and that's your fatty liver. So exercise will also help you lose your belly fat, plus it will help you reduce your fatty liver. Why am I so concerned about this? Because when we talk about diabetes, we don't talk about only diabetes. We talk about comorbid conditions, and then we talk about complications of diabetes. You can reverse diabetes, but complications of diabetes, almost irreversible. So you have to be very, very careful to protect yourself at this level. Okay. Then let's say, what is the best exercise for diabetes? When a diabetic wants to exercise, what do you start with? What do you do? Honestly, the best exercise, someone very intelligent said, is the exercise which gets done. Okay. But as a concept, I want to mention this very clearly. If you're a diabetic, you should look at cardio. One, absolutely fine, but you should also combine it with a little bit of muscle training. Now, muscle training could be anything, like even if it's a yoga, but you're, going into asanas, you're putting a little pressure on the muscles, very good. Pilates can be done, but weight training is something which is very direct on the muscles, okay? So a combination of muscle training and cardio is excellent. Cardio will help you reduce your sugar levels then and there. You go for a walk, you're going for a swim, it will start reducing your sugar levels, okay? Weight training might not show you a drop in the sugar that minute, okay? Sometimes it might even show a little increase in the sugar if you do too heavy or too fast or something. But what you will start noticing is that your regulation through the day is beautiful. Now, why does this happen? Because once you talk about muscles, see, every decade we are automatically losing about, let's say, 5% of our muscle mass to degeneration. We are not doing anything, we're not using it, you're going into atrophy. Automatically there's a chance that your muscle mass is already reducing. Okay? Why are muscles so important? Because muscles are using the sugar for energy. So if you don't have muscles, you don't need that much sugar, right? That's the bottom line. So if you can keep your muscle mass intact, you can look at strengthening of the muscles, you can look at toning of the muscles. It's something which is extremely, extremely important. And when you combine the muscles and the cardio, that's the best combination. Okay? Then you talk about muscle, then you say, okay, special note over here for women. Now, women always have a mindset that I cannot do muscle training, I cannot do weight training, okay? See, if you don't like it, it's a different thing. You can go into yoga and all of that, no problem. But if you actually like it, but you're apprehensive of going to a gym or something or doing it at home, then try to overcome that. Because the sooner you start, the better it is. The sooner you start before menopause, better. But even if you start after menopause, no problem, because that is something which is extremely important for your bone health. Okay. Then comes senior citizens. I am over 60, I'm 65, I'm 70, I've never done it. Should I be doing it? Yes, 100%. Like I said, you start slow, you build it up very, very gradually. If you're doing it for the first time, do not do it alone. You have to have a trainer. You have to have some guidance. It could be your son, your daughter, your friend, no problem. But they should be able to take care of you from an exercise perspective. Okay. Then how much? They always say, how much do I exercise? Doesn't matter. Whether you're doing 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, up to 60 minutes, 1 hour is actually quite enough for everybody. Some people like to go over 1 hour. I think case to case is absolutely okay. But 30 to 60 minutes is a good average to keep in mind. On a busier day, you're coming down to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, absolutely fine. You can do it 5 days in a week. You can do it 6 days in a week. My suggestion is don't go below 4 to 5 days in a week. And definitely don't exercise every day. One rest day, 100%. You got to work smarter, not harder. There is no point working and killing yourself 7 days. No recovery. You're not going to gain the results anyway. Okay. So that is extremely important. Then you say what time to exercise, right? Again, you have to decide what is the best time for you. Okay, I personally have been through an afternoon exercise, evening exercise, night exercise. I was very happy, but I settled down with the morning because I said before my day starts, I rather finish it off early in the morning because then otherwise it's always playing on my mind, and I'm someone who doesn't say no very easily, right? So I'm learning on that. But because I don't say no to people, there's a chance that I might miss my workout, which has happened in the past. Okay, so if you have the same tendency, you cannot stop working, then it's a good idea to finish your workout in the morning. But if you are someone who's sleeping late at night, then if you're going to sacrifice your sleep or get up early in the morning and sacrifice, the number of hours you're sleeping, the quality of sleep, or you're someone who gets up with tension in the morning or you're not sleeping well in the night because you have to go to the gym in the morning or walk in the morning, then that's a problem. So you have to fix your time and fix it in such a way that it is consistent and sustainable. If you're going to do this for 2 months, 3 months, and then stop doing it, whatever you have achieved, you will reverse that effects. Okay, so you please understand that you have to have sustainability even in exercise, which means no extreme workouts. You can start with whatever you want, start slow, gradually build on it. Have something that you love. Okay, so like I really like my weights. I'm very happy with my weight training. And then over and above that, I can do a little bit of yoga. I can kind of do walks as variation from time to time, because variation again is important. If you do the same thing over and over again with no variation, no change in intensity, no form change, your body is going to get used to it. So the changes that you did have will stop now. Okay, so you got to be extremely careful with the variation part also. All right. Then we talk about what about pre-workout and what about post-workout. Now, obviously, there is a lot of concepts of fasted workouts, but I very strongly recommend for a diabetic, avoid it. Do not go in for a fasted workout. Okay, it's a one-off thing, there's a reason, or maybe you're doing light stretching, light yoga, light walking, that's a different thing. But I'm talking about a proper exercise regime. Then I would strongly recommend most days to avoid the fasted workouts. Okay. Why is that? Again, you don't know where your sugar is going to go. Okay, you're on insulin, you're on medications. I don't want that the sugar drops too much. So it could be a very basic pre-workout. It could be probably few like a fruit. A fruit is something which is one of the best pre-workouts because you actually use that energy into your workout, right? So you're not constantly worried about, oh, I had a fruit, okay? 1 or 2 dates you can have fruit. You want to add a few almonds to that, that's good enough, okay? You want to add, a lot of people swear by peanut butter. It gives me a little acidity, so I don't have it pre-workout, I have it somewhere in the evening. But homemade peanut butter with the fruit is actually very good for sustained energy, also pre-workout, okay? Do not have anything that gives you acidity, gas, bloating pre-workout. That's not going to help at all. You'll be very uncomfortable through the workout, so completely avoid that, okay? Now suppose you say I'm working out in the evening, and you're having lunch at about, let's say 2 p.m. and you're working out at 4 p.m. Even if you're not hungry, you can go. That's not a fasted workout. So that is okay. So anyway, you say when you're having a major meal, at least about 1.5 to 2 hours of gap between the meal and the exercise is necessary. So that's not bad. Okay. Caffeine, coffee. I know blood dilation, and also they like to kind of have coffee, tea, and all as pre-workout. Again, if it's part of a meal, I'm okay. But if you're having it as a pre-workout, I strongly recommend that you don't do it. You don't do. You might not have gut issues now, but tomorrow you can develop something or the other. You might not even realize that it is because of the pre-workout coffee that you were doing. Okay, so I would strongly recommend don't do it. Luke always talks about this beetroot juice, the vegetable juice and all, which you can definitely do as a pre-workout instead of the caffeine. So that's a better idea to go about it. Okay. Then let's talk about post-workout. So a lot of people I know, they do the workouts and all, and they're just not eating anything after that. They will not eat for the next 4 hours, they'll not eat next for the 3 hours also. So that's not a good idea, okay? So definitely something like a sattu shake, okay? Definitely if you're going in the morning like me, I tend to have breakfast post my workout, which is very good. If you're doing it, so the point is you got to eat. And if you can have some amount of protein added to that meal, it's definitely beneficial, okay? People who are doing protein shakes and all, probably a scoop after workout, absolutely fine. Don't go more than a scoop because most of the commercial proteins already have about 20 to 25 grams of protein in one scoop. So on top of that, adding 2 scoops doesn't really make sense. So 1 scoop for better absorption is all right if you're already on a shake. If you're not on a shake, if you're just starting workout, I would say at least avoid any form of protein shake from outside for at least the first 2, maybe 3 months also. First get consistent, then you can think about it. But on a generic basis, sattu shake is actually good. Luke really kind of believes in that and speaks about it also. So that's a good option for you. Okay. Then next part, which is actually a little more important, little bit more sensitive also, is monitoring. And so basically whatever you do, okay, whether you're eating healthy, whether you're sleeping right and all, or exercising, you have to understand what is the impact of that on your sugars. Not your neighbor, not your relative, but on your sugars, okay? If you're having wheat, if you're having rice, if you're having jowar, you should know what is the impact on your sugars. So the same way, once you start exercising, the expectation is that you should start seeing a gradual decrease in your sugars. When I say gradual, it doesn't mean that you do 3 days or 1 week of exercise and suddenly your sugars are all normal, right? It doesn't work like that. You have to train your body to accept that exercise to make the insulin more sensitive. So it takes time. Now whether it can take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 months, hard to say from person to person. But monitoring of the sugars is extremely important. You have to monitor. So whether you're using a glucometer, if you're using the glucometer, very simple. You can check sometimes, you can check pre-workout before you're going for a workout, and then you can check post-workout. Now sometimes, like I said, if you do check post-workout and suddenly you see a higher number, please don't panic. Please don't panic because I said, ho sakta hai, it can go up, you can get an adrenaline rush, it can go up. So don't worry about it. Sometimes you can, post-workout, even if you don't want to check, what you need to look at still is the fasting levels, probably twice a week. and the postprandial. So that is PP 2 hours after a major meal. So after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, 2 hours after that, start checking it at least twice a week. So what happens is you'll see a gradual decrease either in the fasting or the PP or both. And then you can further deep dive into it more. Okay. Suppose you say, I want to go deeper. Then look at the CGMS device, the continuous glucose monitoring system. Small pads gets attached on your arm, take sugars every 15 minutes. So you will not only know what is your pre-workout and post-workout sugar, but even during workout, what your sugars were, when you're sleeping, what your sugars are. It's a beautiful device. If you're interested in getting more data, understanding what you're doing, but you need an expert with you. It's always better, your health expert, your doctor, someone needs to be there to help you analyze that data. Otherwise, you can get super obsessive about the data, okay? So be a little careful with this device. Then comes to medications. Now, just because you have started exercising is not a green signal that suddenly you start reducing your medications, or worse, even stop your medications. Like I said, you are expected to see better numbers, okay? But if you feel, a little bit of dizziness or a little bit of lightheadedness while working out, that's a good idea to first check the pre-workout. Not only what you're eating, but also your pre-workout sugars, okay? So keep a check on that. If it's already low, probably you can eat something before, coming into the gym or for a walk or wherever. But if you feel that way, go deeper into your numbers, because this you can start sharing with your doctor. If the numbers are constantly low, it is going low, that is the clue. That's the cue that the doctor has to start reducing your medications. Now I repeat, you don't do it, your doctor has to do it. Please do not fidget with your medications, because if you don't stabilize your medications, you will have a lot of issues to understand कि दवाई से कितना असर है, lifestyle से कितना असर है, and we'll keep going in circles again and again. Okay, so be extremely careful not to fidget with medications. Now if you're on insulin, I've always told people you can fidget with a +1 or ±2 units of insulin, the short acting first, not so much the long acting. Okay, if you really want to look at the long acting insulin, please talk to your doctors again. Okay, now see, the point is that if you feel that your doctor is being very unreasonable, you're making the effort, your numbers are looking good, your doctor still doesn't want to reduce your medication, have a frank conversation to understand what is going on in his or her head. If you're still not convinced, there are a lot of second opinions that can be taken. I don't recommend doctor hopping, but if you feel he or she is being extremely unreasonable and that you're quite sure that you need to change medication or reduce medication, then you have to look at a second opinion. Okay. Now another advantage of the exercising, okay, when you're talking about, specifically I'm talking about muscles over here, is again for the people on insulin, senior citizens on insulin. So even when you're pricking yourself, your thighs, your abdomen and all, there are times because you're losing so much muscle, specifically in the thighs and probably from the arms also, your pricks can become more painful, okay? You can develop, there's something called like a lipodystrophy, a hardened area, specifically, around the abdomen, on the thighs, wherever you're pricking more often. So you make sure that you do not prick in that area at all till the hardness goes away. Once the hardness goes away, then you can come back. So there's something called as, you have to rotate your insulin sites. So you keep 2 fingers and you rotate your insulin sites. When your muscles get better, the absorption is actually much better. You feel better, you'll get the numbers coming down also much better. Okay. So there are multiple reasons why you have to exercise. You have to accept it. Okay. You have to look at yourself and say, listen, I know I have diabetes. I know I'm trying to make an effort, but I'm not exercising. You have to ask yourself why. The more you ask yourself, why am I not exercising? Why am I not exercising? And you get the answer, that's when you'll get consistent with exercise to get better results. All right. Thank you so much. I'll quickly go through the questions. I think we have a few. Oh God, there's quite a few. Okay, I have just started my workouts and now I really feel good. That's there. You have a live person who's telling you that workouts make you feel so good. For thyroid patients, protein is okay. Yes, of course, protein is okay. I'm always more for natural food protein, more than the protein shakes. But again, vegetarian, working out, all these things depend person to person. So it's hard to kind of, pinpoint which type of protein you should be taking. Cannot be. protein cannot be digested for thyroid patients. That's not really true. That's not true at all. So wherever you're getting that information, please get it corrected. Thyroid patients can absolutely digest proteins 100%. People are more interested in thyroid today. Thank you very much too. Okay. What all to do in muscle training in starting for above 40, below 45 women? Like I said, muscles, if you're going in, go. If you're good to do dumbbells, weights, I'm very happy if you're good. You can do, you can use dumbbells. You can start with a kilo dumbbells. That's, I think, I don't know if there's less than that, but I think kilo is quite low and quite easy to do. You start with free weights and then you can use kilo dumbbells. Barbell and all, probably you don't have to get into that. You all can start with the dumbbells, or you can use a resistance band. You can even start with a resistance band. It's quite good. You can start with water bottles, 500 ml bottles filled with water. You can start with that. You need to decide what you want to start with. Absolutely okay. Suppose you say you are happy with the yoga, please go deeper into it. Please go a little bit where asanas are actually, you're putting more pressure on the joints a little bit, on the muscles and all. That's absolutely fine. You don't have to do weights. There's no reason. Okay, someone's asking why are the fasting sugars higher? So this is an interesting question. It's an important question also. But fasting is actually the pathology, and most of us, or what I see in my experience also, normally fasting is the first thing to go up and the last thing to come down. Okay, so I would say that fasting is a pathology because of, the insulin actually getting wasted and, going down. So that is the first sign. And PP postprandial is actually very dependent on your lifestyle. What you eat, what you do. Talking about PP, right? So post-meal walks, which I forgot to tell you. Post-meal walk, something like a post-meal walk. So that's 30 minutes after you finish your meals, a light walk for about, 8-10 minutes. 15 minutes is also good enough, but it's a light walk. Okay, no staircase, none of that. Can actually get your PP sugars, postprandial sugars down. Okay, so PP sugars is very, very easily manageable with lifestyle changes most of the times, but fasting sugars takes its own time. Just be patient. As long as the PP is coming down first, just be patient. The fasting will also start coming down. Okay, movement, post-meal walks, not sitting for more than, let's say, an hour at a stretch. All these things help improve posture, help improve your belly fat, automatically reduce fatty liver, automatically reduce inflammation in the body, automatically reduce insulin resistance. So they all need to be done together for optimal results. Okay. Is gym better or cycling for diabetics? Like I said, gym and cycling is better. If you combine the two, that's a better combination. You can do three days of gym, you can do 3 days of cycling, you can do 10 minutes of cycling, 20 minutes of gym. You decide how you want to do it. You decide how much time you have. That's how you have to understand yourself. But there is nothing like this is better than that. I always prefer a combination, which is the best. My husband's fasting sugar is 157. Is it okay for him to take metformin? If the doctor has given the metformin, then of course it's okay to give, because fasting sugar is definitely on the higher side. But the question is, can we get it down? Is he following a lifestyle? He can start the metformin, but does he need to continue? It will depend on his lifestyle. So if the lifestyle takes over and the fasting comes down, you can speak to the doctor and see if the numbers are looking good. He can get off the medicine. That's the whole point. Metformin is a very basic medication, as opposed to all the myths and the misinformation that we have against it. It's not a bad drug at all. It's actually one of the safer drugs, and it's very basic. So if it's required, it's required. If HbA1c is 5.4 but fasting is 108, sometimes 97, is that normal? See, sometimes one-off fasting comes up above 100, it's okay. Initially it was actually 110. Now, because of stricter rules and regulations and protocols, the fasting is brought down to 100. So if you're keeping your HbA1c at 5.4, if you're keeping your PP below 140, most of the times your fasting is below 100, I would say don't worry about it. Relax, keep a check on your weight anyway, keep a check on your belly fat. If you're taking care, not binging unnecessarily, you're good. Okay, I think we have time for, okay, just a minute. We'll have 1 or 2 questions. My father always used to eat sweets and he's a diabetic. So sweets is one part of the diabetes, but it's the metabolic load. No exercise, being sedentary, sleeping for 4 hours, very poor sleep patterns, constant chronic stress. That is what eventually comes together and eventually gives us the diabetes. Diabetes can also happen in an older individual as they grow older, if there's family history and all also. So I would not only blame the sweets. I think things are coming as a combination to get the diabetes basically. Okay, last question. I have put on weight. What should be done? Exercise. If you're not exercising, make sure you start exercising. Start your post-meal walks. Make sure you're moving. Make sure you're eating well. Make sure you have enough fiber in your diet. Make sure you're sleeping at least 6 to 8 hours, decently good quality sleep, and make sure you're managing your stress. I can't say don't take stress, but as long as you're managing it well enough to not let it affect you, that's good enough. You will lose weight slowly and steadily, but make sure that you keep your muscle going and lose more of fat and less of muscle, if that makes sense. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll reconnect soon. Thank you.